Welcome back to the Angus Report. I'm Crystal Albers. We've been visiting with Kurt Pate and Ron Gill about 10 tips for effective cattle handling practices. And we've gotten through 1 through 5, but number 6 is pressure cattle from behind only when absolutely necessary. And we discussed in our last segment how the temptation is there to kind of push cattle from the back, but you're saying that's not the way to do it.
If you can help it, but at certain times you have to get behind the animals, and that's when we need to rely on our facilities, good surface where the animal doesn't slip and get scared, alleys and those kind of things. But you can position yourself, if you move and always are aware of where the animal's seeing, you can, even from behind, you can go back and forth behind the animal to create movement forward.
The thing I try to do is to get the cattle to move past you, and then once you have movement, if you're behind them and going back and forth, as Kurt mentioned, you can keep that movement going very easily from behind. But just walking up and starting a group from behind sometimes can be kind of hard on them.
Number 7 is when working cattle move in straight lines and triangles. How does that work, Ron?
Well, when you approach an animal, you want to approach in a straight line from whatever angle you're going toward the animal. If you think about the way an animal responds to movement and look at predators or whatever, they may go in circles and circle the herd or circle an animal. And so that elicits a different response. We've actually seen it in demonstrations where a person would go in and try to work a set of cattle that are working very good, but when they start moving in an arc, the cattle respond differently. And so if you're going in a straight line, they understand you're coming with a purpose. When you retreat, you need to do the same thing. And then you reposition yourself in a straight line back toward the front to where you can work down the side and come in more at a straight angle on the animals.
So straight lines regardless of whether you're in front or to the side of the animal.
Right.
Yeah, and when we talk about low stress handling, sometimes people kind of think it's all real slow and easy, but the only way you can get an animal to work is to put pressure on them. And if there's pressure out here that's more than you're putting back here, you're not going to get them to go there. And then the other thing is when you pressure straight, the cow might turn her head or do something you didn't want. You know to immediately step back straight. And then this is where the triangle comes in. You can move forward or back, up the animal's side or down his side, and then approach again at a straight line, and that's the triangle effect.
The other part of that is the speed at which you approach an animal. A lot of times we work gentle cattle very slowly and softly, when in fact we probably need to put more pressure on them and allow them to move away from you. Cattle with more flat zone or wilder cattle, you move very slow and very deliberately.
Number 8 and 9 kind of go together, and going with the flow of cattle slows them down or stops their movement, and going against the flow of cattle initiates or accelerates their movement. Kurt, can you explain that?
Yeah, so kind of goes back to the eye again. As you walk forward on the animal, you're coming up into focus and into the spot where they can look at you with 2 eyes. So that in their mind, they slow down to wait for you to come into focus. As you go back towards their tail, you're going out of focus, and they want to move forward to get far enough away to get out there where they can see what you want.
And where I see a lot of people not being real conscious of this, when they're moving a herd of cattle, a lot of times they'll want to stay on their side and go right with the same speed of the cattle to hold them in place. Well, they're telling them to stop at the same time they're wanting them to go. And to change that, you just change your angle where you take that pressure off their side and allow them to have a place to move forward.
And what that usually creates when we stop that movement, like Ron's talking, that's when people start yelling or creating physical pressure or noise pressure to overcome what they've just stopped.
Tip number 10, cattle work best when they are ready. You have to get them there. What does this mean?
Well, they know how to communicate with us. Sometimes we don't know how to communicate with them. So we have to improve our stockmanship skills. We have to understand cattle behavior, how to communicate with that cow, and then you have to practice on the cattle and let them know you know how to communicate with them. I prefer to do that in a pasture setting where you can go out and move the cattle around, teach them to stop, turn. We haven't talked about the whole process of switching eyes and being comfortable turning away from you, but you can train a set of cattle out in the pasture, so when you get them in a smaller area and more confined, you've taken some of the flight zone away from them.
when we return, I want to talk about how a lot of these concepts that we've discussed also pertains to long-term sustainability of our industry and why this is becoming more and more important in the cattle business today. So we'll return after this.
When it comes to buying or selling top quality Angus cattle, experience matters. Visit cotton-associates.com. That's cotton-associates.com to learn about our Angus sales and join us for the first ever Cotton & Associates Select Commercial Female Sale, the Teixeira Cattle Company Female Sale, and the Blackstone Cattle Company Sale. Working together, succeeding together. That's Cotton & Associates.
Join the team, the Beef Quality Assurance Team. Getting BQA certified shows you're committed to practices that produce the highest quality beef in the world. And by visiting BQA.org, you can take the online certification course at a time that fits your schedule and from the comfort of your home or office. You'll also find lots of helpful tips on improving animal health and animal handling practices. Get certified, BQA certified, because it's about doing the right thing. Visit BQA.org today and become a member of the BQA team.
It's time for the Trowbridge Farms Family Affair Annual Female Production Sale in Ghent, New York. Featuring 78 females from Trowbridge Farms and nearly 20 top Angus programs. The sale will be held during the National Angus Conference and Tour. View the lots at trowbridgefarms.com. We'll see you at the farm on August 29th. Trowbridge Farms, where everyone is family.